Hello everyone. So this is Vikas, and today I am gonna present TickTicket project which I built in the hackathon, right? And I have used the Substream in my project, right? So basically, TickTicket is a decentralized ticketing system. So if I talk about the various problem that is being solved by this project is, right? The first problem is the middleman one. Second one is profit margin reduction. For example, let's suppose I am selling someone selling the ticket to other people, right? So means they will deduct some profit, right, from that ticket, so that buyer or seller will not get the maximum profit, right? So that's the problem in the centralized ticket system. So if I talk about the third problem, then previously I used the subgraph in my project, right? But I'm facing some slow type data indexing, right? So that's why I use the Substream, and of course the more gas fees is the problem. So if I talk about the solutions, so firstly, there is no middleman, right? Means by connecting seller directly to the buyer, right? I can eliminate the need of for the middleman, right? So if I talk about this solution number two, then it's obviously the 100% profit to the buyer as well as for the seller by eliminating the middleman. And this solution number three is by using Substream, we improve the query speed, right? Which is all the indexing and the query are given from the graph, but I am using the Substream in my project, which makes the query little bit fast, right, than the ordinary subgraph, right? So that's the beauty of this, project, or if I can say that's the beauty of the subgraph and Substream, right, combination. So let's go to the demo. So this is the landing page of my project, right? So I have 2 tickets already created. Let me create the third one. Let's suppose I'm creating for the blockchain event, and the description and the price, right? And I have to select image. The image will be created as an NFT form, right? So if I create the ticket, I have to pay, some amount of, tokens, right, to list my ticket on the marketplace. So I have to pay 0.025 SEPOLI ATH. Means every user have to pay 0.025 SEPOLI ATH, right? So my event is created successfully, right? Or my tickets for the event is created successfully, right? So this is my ticket which I created. The name is blockchain and the description is this is blockchain event and this is the price, right? So if someone buys this ticket, then he or she would have to pay full amount, right? There is nothing like profit margin reduction, so that the seller will get higher profit from this, right? So I can also release this ticket for the higher price, right? But I suppose in this demo, I am not going to do this because I have less funds, I have less SEPOLI ATS. So that's the reason, right? So I have the another section which is dashboard, right? So basically in dashboard, I have all the tickets which I have listed, right? Or created, right? And the another section which is the experience section. Any user can share their experience from the events, right? Yeah, and this is gonna query from the subgraph only by using the Substream. And user have to pay 0.01 SEPOLI ATH just to remove the spam things. I have do this, right? Yeah. So this is my blockchain event, and all these are query from the subgraph, right? All these are with the help of the Substream, right? And if I talk about the another section or another query, then that will be the marketplace one. So all these are query from the graph with the help of the Substream only. Let's suppose I buy the blockchain ticket from the seller, right? So according to the NFT concept, I become the new owner of that ticket, right? So if I become the new owner of that ticket, then that ticket will disappear from the marketplace, right? So basically, I am using something like the OpenJPlain library and all that, right, to create the NFT, right? So if I buy the ticket, then that NFT will be created. Means I became the owner of that NFT, right? So now that ticket will disappear from the marketplace section, right? So if it's disappear from the marketplace section, then no new user will gonna buy that same ticket, right? Because it totally disappear from the marketplace section, and it will appear under my section, right? Under my project or my ticket section, right? So let's suppose I became the new owner of that that ticket, right? Then I can also release that ticket for the higher price, right? All that are handled by the smart contract things, right? And in the background, we have the open Japting contracts as well. So this is the GitHub repo, right? So basically, for starting with the Substream, right? So we have to install the Substream CLI, I guess. Yeah. So for installing the Substream CLI, you can follow this documentation. So here you will get to know how can you install the Substream CLI in your terminal in your system, right? So here this is the GitHub link, or we will provide the link in the description as well, right? So after installing this Substream, you are good to go to start with the Substream and the subgraph, right? So yeah, so I already cloned my that project, right? So this is my project, and I have ended the uh, my project. Let me open this in the VS Code, right? Yeah. So I tested, this. So let me delete this. Yeah. So I deleted all these, file, and if I will try, to create again, then the simple command will be Substring engine. Basically, it is used to initialize the the command, right? That it is used to initialize the substream, right? And it will create some generate type file, right? To basically then that the substream is present in this folder, right? So after giving the command substream in it, it will ask you some code, right? So I will choose the first one. Then I have to give the project name. So let's suppose the project name is first substream, right? Yeah. So after that, we have to choose this chain. So I am choosing the Sepolia testnet. And after that, we need to provide the address, right? Where our project is deployed. So I deployed my project on Sepolia testnet, right? So I will gonna give the address of the Sepolia. So here we have Sepolia testnet address. Yeah, so after this, it will gonna fetch the API, right? So let's wait for this. It's automatically fetch the the API, right? I guess it's because this address deployed, right? It's already verified and deployed on the Explorer, right? So that's why it automatically takes read my API, right? So if I show you this, yeah. So it's it's verified, right? So that's why it automatically takes the or read the API, right? Yeah. So I have to enter the initial block number, so we can get the block number, right, from the contract creation, right? Yeah. This is my block number basically. Sometimes it's faced automatically, right? And sometimes we have to give this, right? So earlier when I tried, it's paid automatically, but I don't know why it's asking me. But no worries. Yeah. So after entering the initial block number, we have to enter the the project name, right? We can enter anything, right? Just the short name for the contract address, which is this, right? So I'm giving this and as first substream, right? Yeah. I want to call the board. Uh, okay. So I don't want to create more. Again, no, right? And okay, I will do with the entities, right? Yeah, I will want to create in the the root folder, right? Yeah. So it will build the substream package for me, right? And it will take some time. Okay, so until it's compiling, we can see our folder structures, right? So here we get the, our first SBS folder, right, which is the substream folder, right? Under this, we have this schema.graphql subgraph.graph YAML, sorry, which indicates that we, are successfully integrated the subgraph, right, in a project, right? So if I show you how I'm saying, yeah, you can see the substream, right? This indicates that the subgraph will gonna, uh, work with the substream correctly, right? So the kind which is substream, right? This shows that it will work with the substream, right? Means the data will be fetched from the subgraph and it will be handled by the substream, which makes the data, query more faster, right? Yeah, I hope, yeah, it's done, right? Then we have one more command, right? Just let me do one thing, which is it's we have to do, I guess. Yeah, let me unzip this file. So after unzip, right, we have the substream folder, right? Under substream folder, we have all these data. So let me, I guess I have to build one more time, right? So, I have to compile the substream. I can compile with this command, or I already compiled this, right? With the terminal or code only, right? But in your case, right, if something went wrong while compiling, you can try this code, right? You just have to do nothing, right? You just have to, you know, just write, just go to the substream folder, right? Where is the okay? Under this, I have the substream folder, right? You just need to write this make all, right? We'll combine all the files. I already did this, but you can do this if there's some error, right, while compiling uh, in the terminal, right? Because I faced this issue, right, for the first time, so I get to know that this command which is used to compile the substring, you know. So yeah, so you can check this out as well. It will do nothing, but it will compile all the things, right? So let's wait. Yeah, it's compiling all the, I guess it's tracing all the libraries and all, right? So we can wait until this. It will not take much time, right? Just a couple of minutes or few, nothing else. Yeah, so it's successfully compiled. We can see this, right? We have this folder, which is first SVS, which I created, right, with the help of the substream. And under this, we have the subgraph.yml schema.graphql, and this is used to show that our data source kind is substream, right? And this is the name, and this is the network, right? Yeah. And under this schema, we have all the entities, right, of the event, right, which have the parameters, right, ID of type ID, event transaction has of the string, right, and all this. And the main thing is basically under the substream folder, right? We have the substream.yml, right? And here's the main thing entity, right? Uh basically it's the thing which shows that our substream is using the subgraph, or subgraph is connected to the substream, right? And it is used to download all the libraries and all that, right? So this is the very very important thing, right? After that, we have the modules as well. So we have lots of module, right? Map events of type map, right? And this is the source and all that, right? And where we have this graph out as well, and this is the modules of type map events and all that, and the type is of entity change, right? And this will directly link with this subgraph, which is this, right? This entity, right? So, and we have one more thing, which is, I guess, library.rs, right? So yeah, so it's a big file, and here we can see that, I guess, yeah. So basically, It's right. It's something like a table, right? A table of events, right? Or tables of entity. It's created, right? Yeah. So that's where it's same like it's same like this thing, right? So yeah, we have the schema for the subgraph, and we have the tables and all this for the substream, right? So first approval, we have the data type of string, event index of the string type, all this, right? Block number. Basically, it's the parameter and it's the data type. We can see that, right? Or it's the value. So we have all this, right, for market item created, and all this data is being present in the uh, I guess subgraph, right? Schema dot the subgraph as well, right? For example, if I show you this one, right? First TSVS approval, right? So it will be gonna present also in the library, right? So it's gonna present in the substream as well, right? Oh, sorry, library.rs as well, right? And all the events, right, and all the parameters in that time has to be same, right? Like the schema which is present under the schema dot, dot GraphQL, right? So because it's indirectly face the data from the subgraph, and it will show us in the front end, right? So that's the beauty of the substream, right? So we are gonna see, how we can, post this, this or a subgraph, right? Locally, right? It's created locally in our computer, but we gonna post this or deploy this on this graph platform, right? And from that, we are able to, face the or query the data, right? So let's understand basically, the structure of this or the working of this, right? How it's work. So the first important thing is the schema dot why GraphQL, where you have that various the functions, right? Yeah, various types with the means various entity, right? And we have various parameters, right? So all these are fetched from the events, right? Which is present in our smart contract, right? So basically all these are the event, right? Which present in the smart contract. In the subgraph language, we call this as entity, right? Because it is used to the present same. It is used to present the same as on the the GraphQL Explorer, right? We will see, right? We will see that there is a function which is known as the first HBase call approve, which has the all this parameter on the Explorer as well, right? So and we will use this function or any function, right? To to query the data, and we will show the data on the front end, right? So here we're gonna use the subgraph, and this data will be faced in the substream with the help of this table, right? Right. All these events, all the entity are present here as well, right? Yeah. So we will gonna just query this data. Means the substream will face the data from the subgraph, right? After facing data, and we will query the data which is provided from the subgraph to the substream, right? With the help of the substream, we'll store the data on the front end, right? And the benefit of using substream is basically it makes the data query very fast, very, very, very fast than the subgraph, right? So that's the beauty of the substream. So let's see how we can deploy our whole the this graph, right, which is present locally on the graph platform, and so that we will get one unique URL, and by using that URL we can save all the data, right? So let's do it. For doing this, we have to create yes, we have to create one subgraph. Yeah. So let me create one subgraph of name Substream, right? Yeah. So we don't have to do all these things, right? Till here, right? We just need to do this thing, right? Because we already have the we already have the schema and graph, subgraph and schema, right? So we don't need to do all this stuff, right? We can continue from here the code gen and build, right? So, so like we, yeah. So our subgraph is being coupled to the IPFS, right? Just wait a little bit. Yeah, so we get the, ID message this, right? And we are going to use this. Right. Before that, you can say that's it's deployed successfully. It's synced with our local, the subgraph which are in our computer, right? And it's deployed on the Ethereum Symponia, right? Yeah. So, if we go to the playground, right? Okay. So we have, all the entities available here, right? Which are, which we talk here, right? So for example, if I show you this first SBS donations, right? So it's present in the schema, right? So it's present in the schema first SBS donation. It's also present under our, library section, which is of Substream, right? Yeah, it's present under the donation section as well. It's under Substream section as well, right? Yeah, we can see that the first donation, right? So it's basically, it's combining with the events, right? This is our event, right? And the table is created, right? The first row is donation, right? The format is on this hash and index, and we are setting, the parameters, right? Well, we are basically inserting a value, right? For EVM transaction has index, block time, and all these are data time, right? The amount with decimal from we're gonna see in the hexadecimal, right? Because it's address, right? Message, name, timestamp, all these parameters, also present here. Event transaction has event index, block time, from, ID, message, timestamp, name, and all this, right? We can see transaction index, block time, all these are same, right? So though basically if I talk about the process, right? So which is very important in this if you are going to understand how Substream basically works, right? So according to my point of view, right? What I feel is like the all the subgraph, the data is being fetched from the subgraph and it's being handled, right? It's being handled by the Substream in the middle, right? And after handling this, makes the Substream basically makes the query, right, of fetching and showing more faster, right, than the subgraph. If we use subgraph previously, right, if it takes around 0.3 seconds, right, to fetch the data, the Substream will take 0.1 second to fetch the same data, right? So it's like the improvement upon the subgraph with the help of the Substream. So that's the working of the Substream basically, right? So yeah, so let's move forward. So this is the, after deploying the subgraph, right, on the Graph Explorer, which is this, right, we'll get the unique, the URL, which is very, very, very important, and we are going to use this, right, use this URL, right, to, show this data, right, show this data. So currently I am using this URL, right? So I have to do nothing, right? Right. I have to just, I have to just replace this URL, right, with this URL, right? and I have to change something like that in this as well. So let me check if there's you know something is already created or not. Just a second. Invert token items. Okay. Yeah. So yeah. So we are getting the data, right? The same data, right? Which is present here on. Right? This is blockchain event. This is all this data is the same, right? Which is showing here, right? All these data are saying basically. Yeah. Yep. So if just a second, I have to change this as well, right? We say what? Yeah. After this, all things are same, I guess. Right? New token ID and all. Basically, they should be same, like this, right? So if there's some mistake, then this will not work, right? So let me copy this and I have to change here as right. So basically, it's if I talk about this code, right? So we just get a query URL from here, right? After deploying the subgraph, then I am just giving the simple query of the parameters, the substream, and it has three parameters: token UID, price, and token ID here as well. And all this, I only told all these are being fetched from the smart contract events. Further that it is present in the entity as well and the library.rs as well of the substream, right? So it's basically the same thing, right? And we are creating client. Then after creating a client, okay. So basically, I am creating a map as well, right? For the binding thing. Yeah. So basically, NFT basically, it's an I have combined all the things, right? Like data image, data name, and all this, right? Price, token ID, now in the NFT, right? In the NFT, right? And I am using the NFT to map NFT uh, these item name and index, right? So basically, if I talk about the NFT, then it says name, image, name, and description, right? So we can see this. The image is not showing. This is the name and this is the description, right? All this, right? This present in the NFTs, right? With help of this function. Sorry, with help of this function. And here we are working with the subgraph, right? Just to this set tokens, right? With help of this, I'm basically binding this data dot first. Data is basically like the bunch of data is basically like the all the query, right? Data is all this, right? So I am fetching the first token item created from the data only, right? So this is this basically, right? Data dot first, right? I am fetching this the query from the data, the whole query. I am fetching this particular query from the whole query, and this is why this the I guess used it, right? From that and I have combined all this data into the item, and I write the set NFT as the item, right? And here I am using with the help of the map. I am just expanding all these things, right? For example, I am showing the the name, the image, and all this, which is provided in with the help of this, which I am fetching from the subgraph form, right? This query is important, right? And this query is important, right? And this function is important because it's binding all things, right? And okay, yeah. And basically, if I query something, then I have to show on the front end as well, right? So so if I only query without showing on the front end, then it's of no use, right? So for showing, here we go, right? It will show all this data. Means it will work, right? It will work again by showing. means it's facing the data area, right, from the subgraph or substream. Yeah, you can see it's again showing the same thing, right? 0.01 the blue option. Now the image is showing basically, right? Previously, I don't know why it's not showing. So you can see that, right? See, it's the same thing, right? I just changed the link which I brought it from the substream with some query, and I created the client and all this, right? And I, just use with the help of the map, I just, show this image, name and description, right? Price, uh, the token URI, right? The token URI, yeah, the token URI basically, contains the price, the token ID, right? And the image, name and description, all this thing, right? The token URI contains all this data, right? And for the tool, you can check this image. Yeah, it's uploaded on the Lighthouse, right? Don't worry. Yeah, you can see that the name, description, and the image, right? All these data is present under the token URI, right? I guess I copied all this. Yeah, so this is the image, right? Which we gonna here, right? In here, right? And this is the name, the price, right? All this, present in the subgraph as well. The price, the token URI, token ID, and all this, right? So basically, it's the first use of the subgraph, and the second I used, here. So after the NFT marketplace section, we have the our experience section where anyone can, give experience, right? For example, like I joined one, the demo, right? For example, the Substream demo, right? And I want to give someone buys the ticket, someone joins the event, right? And after the post event, someone wants to give the feedback for that, demo, right? So he or she can come to this part, right? And they can give the demo right here only, right? They can give the event name, message, and then share their experience, right? And basically, the purpose of this, the feedback part is that if anyone wants to join this, the event for in future, right? So he or she can take a look in the review, experience section, and then get to know whether this demo is good or bad, right? So that they will avoid paying the fees, right? So that's the part. So I have integrated, the Substream, the thing in this, here as well, right? To show the name, the timestamp, the description, and the one who, raised this issue, right? The address basically. So I use this Substream to fetch this data. So if I talk about the, the code, so basically we have to copy the, this link. Obviously it's important, right? So because it contains all the, the queries and data, right? So I have to paste here. Yeah. So after this, I have to copy the, the query name, which is SGS ticket. I can find this here, right? Currently we have, I guess, it will show only 3, right? Because we have 3, right? Demo, right? So it will show only 3. The demo is very a Substream demo. This is for testing, and this event is very awesome, right? The Substream demo testing, and this event is very awesome, right? We have only 3, right? And it's showing the same in the Explorer as well. The graph, of the graph, Explorer, right? So I have to change, I have to copy this. I have to make this look same, like this, right? And I have the parameter, right, from ID message timestamp. That ID message timestamp we have the form as well, right? From this is same, right? And I have to change again in one place, which is this, right? And after this, I have queried the data, which is queried from the query URL, which is the first donations, right? Then I created the client. So basically the client is used to fetch all the query, right? And it will assign in the data, right? And upon the data, I will, just paste the particular query, right? I want this query, right? So after that, I created the NFT, right? Tokens, right? And it will gonna map with the token, right? And I'll use this token to show the name, the timestamp, and the message, right? So basically, I'm doing the two things, right? First one is I'm querying the data, right? And after querying data, I'm showing the data on the front end, right? So all by combining these two process, we will show how the graph or how the substream is working basically to the end user, right? So if you are only query the data, so the graph is not integrated completely in your project, right? To integrate the graph or the substream, right, in your project completely, we have to query the data from the subgraph and the data which is queried, right? We have to see, you have to also show the data on the front end, right, to the end user, right? So that makes complete. That makes your project completely integrated with the substream, right? Yeah. So so if I will do again, so let me give some full story. It's awesome, right? So basically, I'm giving this name and this is my description. And let me share my experience. So the MetaMask has to be open. Maybe we can wait. So the MetaMask is open and user have to pay the OpenGL Second ATS, right? So basically it's a fee, right, to remove the spam things and all, right? So let me confirm this, right? So after confirming, you will see there is one more review, right? The fourth one, and that review will present here as well, right? Currently we have only the review here and on this section, right? First substream, the timestamp 132. You can match the timestamp 132. This is the substream demo and it's also right. This is the message and this is the owner, right? Who is this? Who created this message, right? And we will see the same thing in the subgraph, explorer as well. Just mirror. Okay, just to see. Yeah. So there we go. First substream. This is substream demo and it's also right. It's the same thing, right? It's means and we can match the timestamp as well. 28, 7, 20 and all that, right? Basically it's like the US or something time, right? And in India we have 133. 35. So it's same. So basically, yeah. So this is the message timestamp means it's working, right? So this data is showing in the subgraph, right? On the explorer part, and we are fetching this or querying this data with the help of the subgraph by integrating the substream in the subgraph, right, to make the query more faster, right? And finally we are showing the query in the front end, which is this, right? Right. So yeah, so this is how I integrated the substream in my project, right? And I showed you guys how you can also do this, right? So by integrating the substream, right, in your project, it makes the query more faster, right? For example, let's suppose you are querying the data from the substream only, right, without any use of the substream, right? If you get the query right from the subgraph, let's suppose in 1.4 seconds, right? Then you will get the query with the help of the substream by integrating the substream and the subgraph. I guess in around not much, but impactful, which is 1.1 seconds, something like that. It's much faster or it's much better than the subgraph, right? It's just the upgraded version of the subgraph. You can say like that, right? Yeah. So that's all, right? And that's all. And I hope you guys enjoyed. Thank you so much. If I talk about my recent hackathons, then that first one is Hackathons, right? Then before that, I won the Vortex hackathon, which is I guess organized by the school team. Then I won the Celestia hackathons, right, which is organized by the Celestia team. And if I talk about the prize money, then I won around $1,200, right, USD from that Vortex one, 1,000 from that hackathons from the graph only. And Celestia Club, I guess, around 600-700 or 800 USD. And yep, and if anyone wants to contact me, then he or she can email me on this mail. This is my Twitter ID and this is my GitHub link. Yep. Thank you.